Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Posted to r/AmITheAsshole, would I be the asshole public? Am I the asshole for telling my 7-year-old son to man up after he fell off the trampoline? I, 28 male, have a 7-year-old son. The other day he was playing on the trampoline in our backyard. He fell off, hit the grass, and started crying. He wasn't badly hurt, just a scrape, but he acted like it was the end of the world. I walked over, saw he was fine, and told him to man up. I didn't yell or get mad, just told him to stop crying and get back. I'm trying to raise him to be tough, not fall apart every time something small happens. That's how I was raised, and I think it worked out for me. My wife didn't like that. She said I was being too harsh and should have comforted him instead. She thinks I'm going to make him afraid to show emotion. Even my mom said I need to be gentler with him. I don't see the big deal. He's a boy. He fell. He got up. That's life. Am I the asshole? He's 7. And while, yes, I know that kids can be little shits and over-dramatize their injuries, I remember when I was 7 and I had first, fractured my arm. I tried to tell my mother, who was following the advice of my stepfather, and she just believed that it wasn't a big deal and I need to man up about it. My stepdad voiced a similar opinion, and because of this, I went to flag football practice the next day with my arm still hurting, and the fracture became a break. Because no one took me seriously and believed that I was either faking it for attention or I needed to man up about it. The reason why I'm getting to this point is just for the simple fact that, yeah, he may have had a few scrapes on him and didn't look like a big deal, but you never know. Especially when falling off of an elevated, bouncy surface like a trampoline into the hard ground. Hell, I'd be willing to bet money that several ER staff have probably seen their fair share of trampoline injuries from children. It's also my opinion that taking the whole approach of men shouldn't show emotions is just incredibly unhealthy in the long term. It leads to just a lot of bottled up problems that you don't know how to deal with or communicate about because you believe it's unmanly to just simply talk about what the fuck is going on with your life. And also, I don't mean to sound like a bleeding heart here when I say this, but this is what usually they mean by toxic masculinity. Oftentimes it's not properly communicated, but masculinity in itself is not toxic. In fact, there's nothing wrong with it. What's usually meant by toxic masculinity is the kind of shit that's labeled as being masculine but actually hurts the people involved. It doesn't just hurt the women in their lives, it hurts them themselves too. Oftentimes that shit isn't explained properly, so then you have people that are out there saying oh, they want to get rid of all masculinity because they think it's toxic. No. Just the shit that perpetuates pain and continues the cycle. Like what OP is doing. Now, if I'm gonna be honest with you, because of how OP was raised and because he's perpetuating the cycle, my guess would be is that the only reason why OP responded the way he did is because he doesn't have the emotional space or know how to handle a child crying. So the easiest way for him to handle it is man up and deal with it. Instead of actually, being a supportive father. You should be teaching your child to get up despite the pain, and not get up and ignore the pain. I hope what I'm saying here makes sense, especially with the context of everything else I've stated. Originally posted to r/legal advice. My son is refusing access to my grandchild. Delaware. My son and I have always had a poor relationship. He moved out at 20 eons ago and has since graduated and found a job and gotten married. I was shocked to find that me and my new wife were not only not allowed to attend his college graduation, his wedding, and son's birth were entirely unknown to me. I had to find out this information, up to and including the gender of my grandson, by interrogating my other son. I've been informed via text by him as well that I will not be allowed to attend the birth, visit the child, or partake in its life. My questions are, 1. It's my grandchild, and I know there's something called grandparents' rights. How can I gain access to my grandchild? 2. How can I file for visitation rights to see my grandchild? I understand that without any abuse I cannot have custody, but I would like weekend visitations, Friday at 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. What type of lawyer would I need? Do grandparents' rights work the same as child custody in a divorce? What do I have to do to supersede my son's rights as a parent? I just want to get to know my grandchild, and he won't let me. Gotta love how transparent the motivations become after the final lines there. But overall, the way that grandparents' rights pretty much work is you have to have a prior established relationship with the grandchild, and something needs to have happened that is now revoking your access to that grandchild. An example would be, let's say your daughter dies and your son-in-law is now refusing any form of access. Grandparents' rights do not give you unfettered access to a grandchild that you have no relationship with, especially when it is of the express request of your child that you are not to be around them. They don't simply give you a green light to violate their consent. Also, this is a really good example of missing reasons, where the relationship is just a poor relationship. We're missing any of the kind of reasons that led to them having that poor relationship. It's just casually left out as, oh, we've always had a poor relationship, but what they casually forget to include is the fact that they're probably the ones responsible for that poor relationship. I mean, hell, their personality and behavior is on full display here. Has vaguely heard of the concept of grandparents' rights, did no external research on it, and ends the post with saying, "What do I have to do to supersede my son's rights as a parent?" Like, this kind of transparent villainy just feels like the rough start to a Disney B movie that was straight to DVD. No shame on that, by the way. I grew up on those movies. Posted to Am I the Asshole relationships. Am I the asshole for starting an argument with my girlfriend over her Instagram feed? Apologies in advance. I've never posted on Reddit before, and English is not my first language, and I'm still learning. My girlfriend, 19 female, is angry at me, 20 male, for being controlling over what she posts on social media. We've been dating for 7 months now, and we've encountered some issues within our relationship. However, this is one I do not know how to move past. This argument started a few days ago when I noticed my girlfriend posting an Instagram story that her mom had taken of her and her cousin sat at a beach bar drinking cocktails. The issue is that the photo is a full-body shot of my girlfriend wearing a bikini. Although this may make me seem bad, I believe my girlfriend is attractive. I feel the need to be honest by stating that she's definitely not a 10 in the face, probably a 7 realistically. Her main asset is her body. Therefore, I believe that her posting this was a grasp for male attention. I believe this is also due to the fact that she's aware that her main demographic of followers are men. She has around 8,000 followers on Instagram, which mostly amassed from a couple viral TikToks that she had posted of her lip-syncing videos. After I saw her Instagram story, I politely messaged her and asked her to remove it, to which she acted confused. She argued that photo was completely innocent and just a nice photo of her and her cousin at the beach. I simply stated back that I believed it was disrespectful to be posting these photos while in a relationship, as frankly it's a cry for male attention. She got upset and said that she posted it simply for herself because she liked the photo. I just don't understand how this can be true, as if she liked the photo, she could have just kept it in her camera roll instead of sharing it on the internet. Anyway, to make a summary of a long argument, her other points were that since we met through social media, I should apparently have less of a say in what she posts. Also, that she had previously posted me on her feed, so therefore her followers were aware that she had a boyfriend, which in my opinion is a stupid argument. My points of the argument were that my standard in a woman was that they did not need to show themselves off to the world in order to gain validation from other men, and that it also reflects badly on me as her boyfriend, as I'm concerned that my friends will end up seeing the image and viewing her as a low-value woman. Didn't you just comparison rank her body and fail whatever? Anyway, I just need to gain perspective on the situation from another point of view. Because other than this issue, she's a very good girlfriend and I do want this relationship to work. Thanks. Updated day later, thank you for the many replies even if they were extremely harsh. I think reading them helped me gain perspective, so thank you. I just wanted to provide a little bit more background info, however. Other than this, we have a very good relationship. She would make time for me and I was very supportive of her studies. The only other things we have argued about is when I mentioned, as a joke, that my type is tall blondes. She's a smaller brunette, which was quickly sorted. And that she was annoyed at the number of people I had slept with previous to her, which I'll admit is fairly high, but I don't think it was fair on her to dwell on my past. Other than this, we have had the perfect relationship, and I would not say I'm that controlled as some have said. On to the main bit. I expect most of you will be glad to know that I broke up with my girlfriend today. Clearly our views do not align with each other, and according to everyone who commented, she deserved better, She cried a lot and begged me to not leave her. She offered to delete her TikTok and Instagram, however, I had already made my choice. I feel sad at the moment, but I know it is what is best for both of us, as now she can find someone who does not mind her posting herself in that way, and I can find someone who wouldn't do that. We both have different standards for relationships, and I really do not think I'm the villain for wanting a little bit of respect. I'm not shaming her for posting herself. I'm simply saying that I don't want that from a partner. Thanks for reading and for the advice. Oh boy, I have a lot of problems and I'm gonna forget so many of them, so I'm gonna do my best to try to remember all the issues that I have with this. First off, when someone says your girlfriend deserves better, your response shouldn't be, then I'm just going to immediately break up with her to make Reddit comments happy. It should be, oh, maybe I should try to adjust my behavior to be the person that she deserves. Saying that someone deserves better doesn't necessarily always mean that the better they deserve is someone else. It could be you, just being better. But honestly, if this is your reaction, then yeah, she probably does deserve a different person. Second fact, you did in fact shame your girlfriend, by the way. Not just about posting on her Instagram, but just making the off comment about, oh, her face is a 7, but her body's a 10, and I don't like it when she posts her full body. Like that comes across as, no babe, posting your face is fine because it's not going to get guys horny. But your body, on the other hand, that appeals to the male gaze. I mean, hell, you did definitely shame her for posting her body because you said she was devaluing herself and said, as frankly, it's a cry for male attention. You gonna say that and tell me that you're not shaming her? I mean, hell, I wonder how many times you've called her a low-value woman to your friends or even to her face because, like, that's just such a gross way to view your girlfriend, dude. Or ex-girlfriend now. Like, buddy, you made a mountain out of a molehill. You met through social media. You knew she had a TikTok and an Instagram. You knew that she was uploading photos, but previously it never bothered you because, in your words, you found her face to be a 7 and not her most valuable asset. So until she posted a photo of herself that her mother took with her and her cousin on the beach, then that's when you had a problem with it. Now, I don't have an issue. If you want to communicate with your girlfriend that you're uncomfortable with her posting herself publicly on social media, that's one thing. But for you to say that you feel like she's devaluing herself, that her face is a 7, her body's a 10, that she's pathetically doing this for male attention, and to top it all off, here's a comment from OP. Sorry, but I'm not American. I don't know how else to describe her in English. She's perhaps very attractive in American beauty standards, but in our country, she is not the beauty standard. That is just fact. Although I agree she does look good in the photo, it is about the message she is showing. I don't want my friends to view her as just another Instagram bikini girl. I want them to see her as a real person. Play that part out loud, bud. You just stated that you don't find people who post photos of themselves on Instagram not to be real people, and that you've always found your girlfriend to have lower value because she has an Instagram. Like, you are allowed to want a girlfriend that does not have a public Instagram. What I am not a fan of is you shaming your girlfriend for having one prior to your relationship and then referring to her as low value. That's gross, dude. Grow up. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. What can I do, 28 male, rebuild my friendship with 22 male after pantsing over a stupid dare? You pant someone as a 28-year-old? Last weekend was a wild weekend for myself and the entire friend group. About a year ago, I met Andrew, not his real name, and we decided to take him under our wing. He's a great kid, super naive about life though, and lack confidence, but he's very successful and the most successful person in our group. He became a cyber officer in the Army Reserves and got a well-paying job. He recently came back from some training in Georgia for the Army, and I think it increased his confidence. I personally have seen a difference in him, and he's gained a bunch of weight from the gym. For example, Steve gets more women than him, and the group, instead of listening to Steve's suggestions, and doesn't like how Steve treats women. What the fuck was that sentence? Who the fuck is Steve? What is this an example of? Anyway, we were all at the bar and it was kind of dead. We see Andrew staring at this one girl and she was bad. Andrew said he thinks he'll go and talk to her, but we all burst out laughing. Andrew never approaches women. He says she's beautiful and her energy is radiating. I told him, bro, just say she bad. LOL. He said it's not just her looks, it's her energy. I'm sure you get what I mean now about him being naive, but he's young. I do think she was flattered though, because we were close enough where she could hear, but not sure. He goes and approaches her, and he started off nervous, but it settled in, and it was surprisingly going well. Really well. She actually suggested going to get food at this pizza spot, which she said was close enough where they can both meet up with their friends afterwards. Not just that, but with her body language, she liked him a lot. Steve thought it'd be funny if we pantsed him and dared me to do it. I didn't want to, but, well, I got peer pressured, so I went over there, interrupted the conversation, and said, "Hey bro, can you stand up for a second?" He did, but was confused, and then I pantsed him. And as I did, he fell on the ground with his pants on the ground. He just gets up, pulls his pants up, pushes me, and just leaves. I think he was about to cry. He didn't even get the girl's number, just rushed out. So we tried to find him, but he blocked every single one of us and left the group chat, which was not expected. We gave him some space, but he hasn't unblocked us. While my number is blocked, I can still message him on X/Twitter. He blocked me on Instagram, but I think forgot to on Twitter. I need help on what to say to him because I don't want to get this wrong and he blocked me there too. Buddy, you fucking peaked in high school, dude. Good God. Andrew sounds like a good guy. Fucking looking at a girl for more than just she being bad. And you fucking think he's naive for it? And then when he actually starts to hit it off and score, your reaction then is to pull him back down because he can't have anything nice that makes Steve no longer look like the alpha male? Steve got jealous that Andrew was able to pick up a bad girl and decided to humiliate him. And you went along with it. Like a fucking 14-year-old. Andrew made his desires clear. He blocked all of you, left the group chats, wants nothing more to do with you guys. Respect that. You fucked up, you were a child, now you have the consequences. There's no rebuilding this friendship, dude. You pulled his fucking pants down in public in front of a girl that he was talking with. That you said that he was naive for liking her energy. Maybe you should learn from Andrew instead of fucking Steve. And maybe grow up and take a few pages of maturity out of Andrew's book, even though he's fucking 6 years younger than you. If you actually want to grow as a person and maybe get Andrew back, here's what you do. You kick Steve out of the friend group. You take a long few months to reflect on yourself and learn from your mistakes. And then, when if Andrew, unblocks you, then that's when you apologize. If he decides not to unblock you, that's his choice. He's made the decision he wants nothing to do with you. You're the one who ate a Nature Valley granola bar in your bed. You lay in this mess. You did this to yourself. Originally posted r/relationship advice. How do 27 male get my girlfriend 25 female to communicate better? Sup, Reddit. I apparently hurt my girlfriend's feelings by accident. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years now and just started living together. It's going great. Now, when I met her, she was still establishing herself, but my career was established. She was just working at the mall and I met her while she was working and we clicked. She still is, but she wanted to better herself. So she went to community college and will be transferring to a 4-year this fall. Her goal is to be an occupational therapist. A couple days ago, she asked me how I feel about community college graduating, and I laughed. This is where I hurt her feelings and she didn't tell me. I said, "They do that?" That's a genuine question. Apparently they do. She said, oh, she thinks she will go to hers. I specifically asked her if this is one of those boyfriend things where you want me to come. She said no, it's just community college. I laughed thinking she was joking and said when you get your bachelor's and finish OTA school, she won't be able to stop me from coming. I thought everything was normal until her sister called me and said just between us that I really hurt her feelings. I told her I have no qualms with going to the graduation, but apparently I made her feel low. It's just I know she's going to great and be an occupational therapist one day. I wouldn't be with her if I thought that was all she was going to do. I don't see why this hurt her feelings, but I'll go if it's such a big deal to her. All in all, this could have been solved if she communicated. So, how do I talk to her without letting her know that her sister told me what happened? I'm at work, so it might be a bit before I reply. Thanks in advance. I just want to give special appreciation to the opening line of, "Sup, Reddit, I apparently hurt my girlfriend's feelings by accident." And the reason why I redraw attention to that is because the tone in the language and the way you open this It's obvious you don't give a shit that you hurt her feelings. You care more about the appearance of caring than actually caring, and that's honestly probably one of the biggest red flags here. If OP actually cares about his girlfriend and actually wants to mend things and not just mend things for the sake of appearances only, then what he needs to do is take a step back and actually look at the situation from his girlfriend's point of view. They were working in a mall, probably working their ass off to not only work in the mall but also go through community college. Sure, community college isn't as prestigious as a 4-year university or as a fucking Ivy League, but it's still the effort that's more impressive than anything else, actually taking the time to better yourself with the limited resources you have. She took the time, she made it. She got to graduation. She's in the process of transferring to a 4-year this fall. She's looking to graduate, and your response when not knowing they did that is, oh, they do that? Is this like a boyfriend thing, or like it comes off that you're very uninterested in what her accomplishments are. If you're only apologizing to save face, don't even bother. Only apologize if you're willing to actually be there for your girlfriend and understand what she's done to pull herself out of working at the mall, go through community college, and be transferred into a 4-year uni. Be proud for her, not sarcastic about the fact that it's a community college. Which then, at the end of it, you put the entire onus onto her for not communicating with the fact that she was hurt by your belittlement. And I cannot stress enough how obvious it is how little you actually give a shit about her accomplishments by your tone in the post. From how you opened, to the fact that you have a casual shrug emoji after learning about that there's a community college graduation ceremony, to even how dismissive you are at the idea that you may have hurt her feelings or made her feel low. You can tell a lot about a person by how they react when they find out they've upset their significant other. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for putting my stepsister's cat in its cage? Me and my wife have recently divorced. I've fallen into a deep depression because she cheated. So, my mom and my stepdad, my bio parents split, planned for me and my daughter to visit them in Arizona. I live in California, so it's not that far away. For context, my daughter is highly allergic to cats, and my stepsister has one. So, we get there, and what do we see in the window? A cat. My daughter, let's call her Amy, she's 8, starts crying and said, "Can we go back home, please, Daddy?" My stepsister was gone with her friends, so I left my daughter outside for a second while I put the cat in its cage. I washed my hands, went back outside to get my daughter. I had her sit in the guest room while me and my mom, stepdad was showering, put sheets on everything. Apparently, she forgot to tell me that stepsis had a cat. So anyways, stepsis comes home and sees her cat in the cage. She absolutely loses it, screaming and even starts crying. Says her cat hates being in the cage. Then why have one? Mom tries acting like she isn't taking sides, but it's clear she's on stepsister's side. I ended up leaving the next day because they were being very annoying. Now, they're all blowing up my phone, telling me I ruined everything, and my daughter was completely fine. I blocked their numbers for now, but I need outside opinions. So, this one is complicated, but let's start with the one thing that I do want to get out of the way. The grandparents here definitely have fault in this situation for not remembering their grandchild's allergy and, fumbling the ball there big time. That is 100% a big fuck up on their part. The second aspect, and this is not what makes him the asshole here, this is just generally him being incompetent, is him not knowing how cats or cat allergies work. Putting the cat in the carrier isn't going to prevent your daughter from having an allergic reaction in the house. Even if you put sheets on everything, there's still the dander in the air, there's still the dander in the carpet, there's still the dander on surfaces. Like, you're not going to be able to get the cat out of the house without a deep cleaning. That's just kind of an unfortunate part of having a cat. Their dander is everywhere. The other part of that is him just not understanding how a cat works in regards to the cage. Cats don't like being caged. The only reason why a cat carrier is probably in the house is specifically so they can take them to the groomers or to the vet. That's why the cat carrier is there. It's not to store the cat while the stepsis is out of the house. In fact, actually, storing a cat in a kennel like that for a long period of time is pretty cruel for the cat. OP wasn't aware of these aspects, so he's not the asshole for this, specifically. He's just incompetent. The part that does make him the asshole is his reaction. The whole problem for OP and why he kind of fits into the devil category was his reaction here. His reaction to finding out that he mistreated his stepsister's cat was to be extremely defensive about it, then why even have one? And then on top of that, storms off the next day and blocks everyone because he was in the wrong in one specific scenario. Yes, grandparents did fuck up by forgetting about the cat. Big time. Stepsister caught strays being generous enough to open up her home to OP and his daughter. OP was hella incompetent with how he handled the cat and its allergies. But it's his reaction that's the problem here. Even if you want to take the approach of he is going through a rough time finding out his wife cheated on him, that's an explanation, not an excuse. He needs to take accountability for the way he treated those around him. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for calling my sister selfish and telling her she deserves to be iced out? My sister is a dentist and had 2 clinics. One of the clinics was in a nearby area, about a 20-minute drive, and since most of our family lives in the area, we got free dental work from that place. A couple months ago, she sold it. So now, we had to scramble to find somewhere else to go for our kids since the new owner is changing shit up. Since she sold it, I guess most of the family hadn't been too happy with her for that, and she's kinda been ignored by most, including me. Kind of because I felt like it was a dick move. She called me asking why no one was like talking to her and stuff, and I just told her why. She just said, "That's stupid." And then I told her that response is exactly why everyone thinks she's selfish, and that she deserves to be iced out for what she did. She just said, whatever, and hung up. Nothing really happened between us since, so posting it here to see if I'm the asshole, given that she hasn't talked to me since. She's probably not too happy with me either. Am I the asshole? So by changing things up, they mean they're not getting free dental work anymore. If that's so important to you, to, use your sister's practice for free dental work, then, take the drive to her other clinic. She's allowed to move up in the world and sell her businesses and do what she needs to do to move forward. It is just entirely unfair for you to take one token of generosity that like, hey, while this clinic's here, you guys can have free dental work, as a entitlement and you're required to have this as now a fact of life. So like, what, were you only maintaining the relationship with your sister because you're being given free dental care? Like, damn. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.